Coming up on Network Africa, the opposition in Togo calls for mass protest over delay in elections announced by the presidency. Rwanda commemorates the 30th anniversary of the 1994 genocide. President Emmanuel Macron reveals France and other countries could have stopped the killings. Plus, a documentary screening on Nigeria's Chibok girls 10 years after their abduction. Welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. In Lagos, 4 opposition parties and a civil society group in Togo have called for mass protest next week to demonstrate their grievance against the delayed parliamentary and regional elections. Political tensions have tightened following Parliament's approval of a contested constitutional reform last week due to replace the presidential system with a parliamentary one. Opposition parties have rejected the constitutional change, fearing it could let President Gnassingbé stay in power. President Gnassingbé has been in power since 2005, when he replaced his father, who led the West African state for 38 years. On Wednesday, the presidency announced the postponement of the country's parliamentary elections, which were due to take place on the 20th of April. The presidency did not say that what the new date for the polls will be, citing the need for more consultations over the reforms. Meanwhile, exiled opposition groups say Niger's military leader has scotched all hopes of a return to democracy after he abolished local councils. General Abdurrahman Tiani sacks directly elected mayors and councillors in all of Niger's 265 communes late on Thursday, replacing them with his nominees. The state court is hearing a request to strip the immunity from prosecution of the man he forced from office. Since the coup last July, General Tiani has pivoted Niger away from its former allies, France and the US, and built closer ties with Russia. Last month, he ordered US troops to leave the base from which they had been conducting operations against Islamists in the Sahel. The United Nations General Assembly has adopted a resolution on the role of diamonds in fueling conflict, expressing deep concern regarding the unprecedented challenges faced by the Kimberley process arising from ongoing geopolitical tensions and conflicts. The Kimberley process is a commitment to remove conflict diamonds from the global supply chain. It defines conflict diamonds as rough diamonds used to finance wars against governments around the world. Tanzania says it supports that draft resolution as it's a necessary measure in promoting the primary objectives of the Kimberley process.
The reason why we support this draft resolution is the fact that it aims to address the insecurity fueled by conflict diamonds. We are convinced that the relevant resolution is a necessary measure on the promoting state sovereignty, poverty eradication, conflict prevention, and elimination of conflict diamond from legitimate trade, which are the primary objective of the Kimberley process.
President Emmanuel Macron is admitting that France and other countries could have stopped the 1994 Rwandan genocide, but lacks the will to do so. He was speaking via video, which is set to be aired during the 30th commemoration of the Rwandan genocide this Sunday. In a 2021 visit to Rwanda, Mr. Macron had said that France had a duty to recognize the suffering that she has inflicted on the Rwandan people by valuing silence over the examination of the truth for too long. During the genocide, ethnic Hutu extremists killed more than 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Several international guests, including French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné and ex-US President Bill Clinton, are expected to attend the commemoration. In the meantime, the United Nations headquarters in New York has opened a new exhibit about the powers of post-genocide reconciliation and the potentially deadly impact of hate speech. This coincides with the 30th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. The exhibit, named Remember, Unite, Renew, is organized by the Department of Global Communication and is the result of an international collaboration with the United Nations system in Rwanda. The Office of the Special Advisor on Genocide Prevention, the Government and Prison Fellowship of Rwanda, and the Aegis Trust. Visitors are invited to confront the realities of hate speech and the critical role each individual plays in fostering a culture of tolerance and understanding. The exhibit also features voices of Rwandan community members who provide insight into the challenges of forgiveness and ongoing path to reconciliation in post-genocide societies. Well, Urayaneza Bernard is a social political commentator based in Kigali, Rwanda. He joins us now for more on that discussion on the program. Thank you for your time. A pleasure having you today.
Thank you, Jackie.
Right.
Pleasure being on the program today.
30 years since the Rwandan genocide. Can I ask your personal story? What was your experience?
Well, my experience is pretty much that of almost every person that suffered the brunt of the racism and the discrimination and persecution. So it has been a long-term program on the part of the old government of the Ancien regime that targeted Tutsis in this country, but also the victims that of the initial pogroms in the 60s that lived in neighboring countries. So I grew up in Uganda, where fortunately we managed to acquire Ugandan citizenship for one reason or another. That also includes the fact that there are some Rwandan lands that were partitioned or parceled off to Uganda. So Rwandans were able to integrate and assimilate easily in Uganda. So we went to school there. But later, as we became more conscious of the overriding issues in the country next door that many of us considered home, we began to participate in the move towards liberation. So 1990, there was an outbreak of war that made the stance of the government to harden. And that's when now they began to organize the final solution, which culminated in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Rwandan youth had come together under the RPF and were able to single-handedly actually stop the genocide after the UN and other countries like Belgium pulled out. So it was very horrific. It's one of the saddest moments in human history. And yeah, fortunately, 30 years later, we are here. We are reconciled to a very great extent. And Rwanda is developing rapidly. That's my personal story.
And what a very touching one at that. And what were your, thoughts about President Emmanuel Macron's, admittance to the fact that France and other countries could have stopped the 1994 Rwandan genocide, but lacked the will to do so?
Well, it's an admission that comes a little too late, and it's actually a case of too little, too late. I don't think there is utmost sincerity on his part, because France retains this institutional, or should I call it systemic guilt, and has tried to sweep everything under the carpet, their participation, their aid to the genocidal regime, and even after the fact, the continued support of forces across the border. But that was a different time. Macron, on a personal level, has been brave enough to confront some of the issues that were left pending by the Mitterrand and subsequent regimes. So we can really take him to his word and hope what he's doing will eventually trickle down into the French system, and we can get more clarity, more openness on these matters, so that state-to-state relations can improve and people-to-people contacts get even better. Yeah, there is a move towards this since Macron came into office, and things are looking upward. But yeah, it's always a case of too little, too late.
Right. Yeah, I can actually imagine what you're talking about. And, there have been talks and, years of prepping the ground and encouraging people to embrace, reconciliation. As you did say that Rwanda, is growing rapidly. In light of that, how are the people preparing to commemorate this day on Sunday, April 7? It really will bring back a lot of memories, sad ones at that for many people.
Yeah, so Rwandans are preparing in a very solemn and somber way to remember once again. It has become part of our social activity annually. So yeah, there is always going to be care to consider the feelings of, first of all, those that survived the genocide, also the memories of those who passed away, but also to factor in the reconciliation. Those who committed these acts, some of them are still in the society. And yeah, considering that we are still trying to rebuild the social fabric, there is always going to be a little juggling here and there to avoid what should I call it, scrubbing up old wounds.
And 3 decades on, I mentioned this a few minutes ago, the global message is calling for post-genocide reconciliation. How can Rwanda and the world go about this, especially in light of, the comments by France?
First of all, let's put it this way. Rwanda is really an absolute exemplary case of reconciliation, post-genocide reconciliation. The steps that have been taken have been kind of superhuman, especially on the part of the survivors of the genocide, who have not only been asked to live with their wounds, but also to do that next door to those that committed the genocide, to those that harmed them, to those that killed their loved ones in such macabre ways that you can't even imagine. Yeah, but within the context of Francis' comments, well, first of all, let's say that from the beginning, the progressive forces in Rwanda went up against a system that was supported by France and managed to overcome it. But even after overcoming it, France tried to undermine the new system in Rwanda. They went out of their way to support the incursions, to support the insurgencies, to try and keep people in the Congo. We've also seen today a lot of sincerity on the part of Western powers when it comes to the continuation of the genocide and the plans of the genocides that are happening in Eastern Congo. Because all that these Western powers seem to care about is, one, their business there, and two, some of them are actually in bed with some of the remnants of the genocides, the genocide perpetrators that are still in Congo. So that's why I said there is a lot of insincerity, but Rwanda must continue to lead the way, both at home but also abroad. In so many respects, Rwanda is very proactive when it comes to taking action against acts of genocide or acts of persecution of groups of people, both in Africa and other places around the world. So yeah, Rwanda really is an exemplary case of reconciliation with or without the so-called Western powers, including France. Thank you.
Right, social political commentator Uraniza Bernard, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Jackie.
And still ahead on the program. Senegal's newly elected president Bassirou Faye celebrates Independence Day at the presidential palace. Details in a moment. Welcome back. And back here in Nigeria, over 80 kidnapped Chibok girls are yet to return. 10 years after they were abducted from the government girls' secondary school at Chibok by Boko Haram members. Two of the former hostages who escaped in 2016, that's Amina Nkeki and Jumai Muta, were rescued later, called for the government to intensify efforts to release the remaining girls still living in captivity. They made the score at the screening of the documentary Statues Also Breathe in Lagos, southwest Nigeria.
It's been 10 years, but the memory is still vivid in the minds of Amina Nkeki and Jumai Muta, two victims of the schoolgirls kidnapped in Chibok by Boko Haram members. On that fateful night of April 14, 2014, 276 schoolgirls from Government Girls Secondary School in Chibok, Borno State, were rounded up and abducted. Until this day, more than 80 of them are yet to return. At the special screening of Statues Also Breathe, a documentary film on the production of terracotta images of the girls still remaining in captivity to draw awareness to their plight, Amina and Jumai recount some of the ordeals they had to endure during their time as hostages.
To our Chibok girls. And when we are going, we have our hair tie and our shoes. We will be throwing on the road. Maybe we will be thinking that maybe some people will follow us to know where exactly where we are moving.
So you were leaving markers along the way?
Yes. Right. Yeah. Some people coming, like our parents and some securities agents follow us, but because of their too much more than them and they have many materials of fighting, they can't catch us because of the...
So you knew people were following?
Yes.
But they didn't have the arms or the numbers to be able to take on the Boko Haram.
After we left Chibok, is the next day, that's our parents follow us back. And it's just only our parents that follow us. And they met with one old man and he told them that, you people, do you think that you can able to get your children from these people? Since you are only people follow them and you don't have any security following you. If you know what is good for you, you better go back to get security so that the people have guns that can fight this Boko Haram. If not, you can't copy with them, you have to go back.
They beg government to rescue the remaining Chibok girls.
But I'm reminding the government that there is still missing Chibok girls that in captivities. And we are still need the effort to release our sisters back so that we all share this happiness we are having now. And for their parents too. Because it's so boring when they see us and thinking about their daughters.
Ori means head.
The documentary follows the project by French sculptor Prune Nori in collaboration with the Department of Fine and Applied Arts of the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, alongside the families of the Chibok girls. The project consists of 108 life-size images of the missing girls as they hope to continue to raise awareness about the plight of the girls who are still missing, while highlighting the global struggle for girl-child education.
Elsewhere, Angola's constitutional court has overturned a 5-year sentence that had been handed to the son of former President Jose Eduardo dos Santos for fraud. Jose Filomeno dos Santos was sentenced in 2020 for his role in the illegal transfer of $500 million from Angola's sovereign fund to a private account in the United Kingdom. He appealed against the verdict in 2022. In a ruling published on Thursday, the Constitutional Court declared his conviction as unconstitutional because it breached the principles of legality, adversarial proceedings, and a fair and consistent judgment and the rights of the defense. The former leader's son, also known as Zenu, was the head of Angola's Sovereign Wealth Fund from 2013 to 2018. He was sentenced alongside the ex-governor of Angola's National Bank and 3 others. The Association of Nigerian Physicians in America has announced that it's the forthcoming ANPA Week medical mission to take place in Umuahia, Abia State, southeast Nigeria. This was announced in a courtesy visit to the chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, at the Lagos office. President of ANPA, Dr. Chinyere Anyogo, explains that the association is a non-profit organization whose vision is a healthier Nigeria and a healthier world. On her part, Honorable Dabiri-Erewa informed the delegation of the intention of the Tinubu administration to engage with Nigerian doctors living abroad and stated that NIDCOM would continue to work with the association and encourage every state in the country to support it.
As we're celebrating AMPA Week, AMPA, Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas, is a 501(c)(3) organization, non-for-profit, and the vision is a healthier Nigeria and a healthier world. And it outputs its vision by several activities, including that of a medical mission. Now, a medical mission itself, in which you come and see patients, is like giving people bread. But our goal within AMPA is not only to give the bread, as in deliver healthcare, it's also to empower the entity, the healthcare system, the populace, the stakeholders, to be able to deliver quality healthcare, not just by our presence, by bringing the expertise. AMPA has over 100 specialists in the medical, surgical, dental, and allied fields, but also to have some interdisciplinary collaboration and transfer of knowledge from both sides that's directional, that can elevate the healthcare delivery even after we've gone.
And finally on the program, Senegal's new president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, has celebrated the country's 64th Independence Day in the nation's capital, Dakar, his first as president. In a ceremony held at the presidential palace on Thursday, the president greeted other officials, including the newly appointed Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, before taking part in the ceremony alongside military officials. This marks President Faye's first Independence Day celebration as the president of Senegal, following the 44-year-old's inauguration on Monday after he secured a victory in the country's presidential election. The election tested Senegal's reputation as a stable democracy amid months of unrest triggered by the arrests of opposition figures and concerns over presidential term limits. That's our package today. Thank you for watching. I'm Jackie.